Welcome back everyone for another video in Microsoft Access. Today we are going to look at a practice test. This is a Chapter 1 grader assignment, Art Center Instructors. This is one of two practice tests that were assigned to prepare you for your real test, which is next week. So I'm creating this video just to help you go through it, to go through the steps and answer some of the questions you may have been thinking and weren't getting a response for. So now you will, and you can see it. And if you still have questions, then just let me know. All right, so I have the file open. I have the instructions printed. And again, just make sure you save your file the best that you can, and with your name in there. There's no marks for the saving of the actual file, as you already know, but make it something you can remember so that when you upload it, you don't make any errors. All right, so step 2, it's asking me to open up the sections table. Before I do that though, as usual, I need to enable the content right here, which I've done right now. Step 2 says open the sections table in datasheet view. So to open it, we double click it. It is now open in datasheet view. It says change the ID field name to section ID and its caption to section ID with a space. And so I think there were some issues with this for some students with regards to how to go in there and change all this stuff. So this ID needs to change. So we got to go to the fields, and then once we go to fields here on the ribbon, then there's the name and caption option right there. So be very careful. The caption is, or sorry, the ID is supposed to be section ID, no spaces, and the caption is section ID with a space. And so please just take some time, focus on that, understand the difference between the two. It's a common theme throughout the assignment, and I know people were having trouble with it. So that's that there. I'm going to click OK. It's going to take effect. It looks fantastic. So that is step 2. In step 3, it says in the second column, add a field named start with the date and time data type. Okay, so I'm going to go over here. I'm going to click on the little arrow, and we know it is supposed to be date and time. Click it, and the field is going to be called start. Press enter to activate. Perfect. So now I have that second field in there. It's called start. It's the date and time. Looks fantastic, and that just gave me 8 marks. So I'm a happy guy. Step 4 says in the third column, add a field named fee with the currency data type. All right. So the next one here, we need to select currency as our option. And this one's supposed to be called fee, F-E-E. Press enter, and it is now in stone. Looks fantastic. So that was 6 marks as well. So step 5 now. It says in the fourth column, add a field named instructor ID with the short text data type and a field size of 50 and a caption set to instructor ID with a space. So there you have it. Those two are different. The ID of the field, the field name is no space, and the caption is set to have a space. And so you don't want to mix those up because that's where you lose marks. All right, so step 5 says in the fourth column, I'm going to choose the short text option. And this is going to be called instructor ID with no space. Press enter to activate. Once it's activated, I click back on it. Make sure I'm on the Fields tab at the top. And now I can change because it wants it to be only a size of 50, which it is. Press enter. Now activated. And then to change the caption, I go over here. And the caption is instructor ID with the space in between. Looks fantastic. I'm going to click OK. Perfect. So instructor ID looking good. So that's steps 2 to 5. Now we're going to get to step 6, where it asks you to import records contained in the sections worksheet of the file. And there was an Excel file you had to download with your instructions and the access database. But before I can do that, it's one thing I always seem to forget is once I've finished what they've asked me here, I need to save this table and close it because it's in the instructions, but I get so excited that I miss it. And it's right at the end of instruction 5. Okay, so now that it's closed, now I can do what I need to do. So in my version of Access, I need to import the records contained, like we said. So I need to get external data right here. And for mine, I need to import it here where it says new source data. I know that some of you guys have little icons for Excel. That's fine, but mine is here in the corner. So I'm going to click on it, and I need to grab it from a file, and I need to grab it from Excel, which is like that. And so I need to browse for it. So where is it located? Well, you need to know where yours is. I know where mine is. And so I'm okay. I'm going to look for it. Recent places is usually a good way to do it. And this is Art Center. And voila. All right. So I found it. It's saved on my USB key within Winter and so on. I'm not going to go through all this because it's going to be different for each of you. Just make sure, though, you browse for the right file. Then I need to append it to the sections table. And there's only one table. Again, we're lucky. Sometimes you have more than one, but we only have one, so we are good. And then I click OK. I'm going to take a quick look. It looks really, really good. I'm not missing anything here. Click Next. Next. Import to table sections. I believe that's good. And then finish. I don't have to import or save those steps. It doesn't tell me to, so I click close. Excellent. And so nothing looks like it's happened. It is what it is. That's 14 marks. But here's where the truth comes out. Now it's going to tell us to open that table again. Let's see if we have records. Double click. And voila. We've got ourselves 25 records that we've just imported from Excel. It says set the column width to best fit. All right, no sweat. So I need to take all the columns. My mouse is acting all funny today. No problem. See, it's still double clicking. All right, no worries. Right click and field width and best fit. Perfect. So that was the first part of that. It says then sort by the start column. So we're going to go over here. We're going to sort it. It says sort in ascending order. A to Z. And then it wants us to filter the data sheet so that only records where the instructor ID of A103 is displayed. Okay, so we go over here, instructor ID, unselect everything, and only pick A103. And then click OK. And so now we should only see, if you take a look at the bottom, there should only be 5 records. So that was step 7. I don't think I missed anything, so hopefully we're okay. Step 8, it says, for the data sheet, set the font size to 10 and the font to Cambria. All right, so that means we click the little button here in the corner. We're going to go to the Home tab. We're going to change it to font size 10. And we're going to change it to Cambria. So we'll scroll down. Or Cambria, sorry, Cambria. And I've got lots of fonts. All right, so Cambria, just the plain one. Perfect. It says then to use the formatting dialog box to set the cell effect to sunken, background to automatic, and then the grid line color to green, accent 6. No worries. To find that dialog box, if you remember from our previous lessons, Home tab, then over to the right here you're going to get this data sheet formatting dialog box, and we can make our adjustments here. So it says to set it to sunken, background color to automatic, and then it says the grid line color to green accent 6. So I'm going to look at my greens. Green accent 6, the last one on my row here. Perfect. And then save and close the table. So we're going to click OK. I'm going to save and close the table. Perfect. All right. And so that is step number 8. Looks good. Step number 9 says create a new table in design view and add a field named instructor ID and with the short text data type, and then set it as the primary key, and then set the field size to 50. So this is worth 8 marks. This is pretty fun. It's not nothing crazy. So what we need to do is go to create. We're going to go to table design because we're supposed to use design view. So table design. And it says add a field named instructor ID. So we're going to type it in, instructor ID. And it's very, very important that you spell it right. Otherwise, our relationships later on in this example will not work. So please make sure you spell it perfectly and 100% correct. We're going to choose the short text data type, which looks fantastic. We are going to assign it the primary key. So you can either right-click on it here or click here to give it the primary key. So that looks good. You can see the key in the little corner. Then it says to set the field size to 50, which is down here, field size 50. And your caption should be instructor ID with a space, just like we did in the other table. And this is why it's so important that all of this stuff matches what we've done in the previous steps. So once we've done that, it says to save the table with the name instructors. Okay, so we're going to click on the save button. And we're going to call it instructors, like so. I'm going to make sure it's 100%, which it is. Looks great. Click OK. And now they want us to swap the view to make us into datasheet view. So we're going to click on datasheet view. And there's my instructor ID field. Pretty cool. Once we've done that, it says in the second and third columns, use the insert name quick start fields. Okay, so click over here. We're going to go to the fields button at the top, the tab. We're going to go to more fields over here. And we're going to scroll down until we get to the quick start. And it's asking us to use the name quick start. So this one right here. Once we do that, it automatically populates the fields for us, which is fantastic. In the fourth column now, it says add a field named phone with the short text data type. Okay, so this is the fourth column. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to change it to short text. And this is going to be called phone. P-H-O-N-E. Press enter. Excellent. And that is step 10. Step 11 now wants us to do some data entry. And this is crucial. This is so important. We need to be very careful when we're typing the information in that we don't make a single mistake. And I do it all the time. I make mistakes all the time because I am human, just as you are. But they want us to be superhuman, so we've got to be super careful. And then we're going to go in here, we're going to type it in. This is the most excruciating, painful exercise, but it is what it is. And like I said, let's hope that I do not make any mistakes, because having to fix it after is quite the struggle. And I am not interested in doing so. And I believe, just by the way I'm looking at it, I believe there is a space between the actual phone number and area code. we can verify that when you upload it. If you make a mistake, it's hard to tell in the instructions, unfortunately, if there is a space, but I'm going to guess that there is. If there's not, I will lose marks, which is fine by me, because like you will have multiple submissions. So if it did make a mistake, you will be okay. So we got Carly here. That's a cool name. 805. And just for future references, I'm typing this all in. Typically, when you're dealing with phone numbers like we are right now, you would set up what's called an input mask. And we don't talk about that yet, but an input mask would then ensure that your formatting for your phone numbers would be done correctly, and you won't have people in your organization putting in the wrong formats for phone numbers, because then after, if you have to search, it won't provide you accurate results. So just a little tidbit of information that input masks will be coming. So A104, this is green, Mitchell, 805. And again, this is the most tedious part of this entire assignment, but they want to show you what it's like to do data entry so that one day you never want to work doing this job, because it is just painful. To do Hazel's cool name. I like Hazel. And last phone number. I hope we did no mistakes here, so I am trying to hustle it for you. 5713. Okay, now that's worth 12 marks, and that's fine. It should be, because it's a lot of work and there's a lot going on. So definitely got this all figured out. I'm just doing a quick double check to make sure I didn't make any spelling mistakes. And that's what I encourage you guys to do as well. Okay, looks good. So once I've done that, it says set the instructors table with the best fit, and then save and close it. All right, no sweat. I'm going to do that. Right click, field width, best fit, save, and close. Perfect. So that is step 11 and 12. That's done. Now we move on to step 13. And so this is where you know if you make a mistake, because you won't be able to create your relationships. And so we're going to go and try and do that real quick right now. And hopefully that will be good to go. So let's take a look. To create your relationships, you got to go to Database Tools, and you need to go to your Relationships button here on the top. At this point, in order to do your relationships, you need to use both tables. So I'm going to add both tables, add them like that, and close. And so what it says here now, it says, using the instructor ID field as the common field, enforce referential integrity, but do not select the cascading delete or update options. All right, so it's easy enough. So this is the instructor ID field. It's the primary key, so I like to take it, left click, and drag it on top of the other instructor ID. So it's going from the instructors table to the sections. And so they want us to select this option here. Do not select these two options here. And it's supposed to be a one-to-many relationship. When I press create, if I did everything right, it will create the relationship. And perfect. One to many. This is excellent. This is exactly what we want to see. Step 14 says to create a relationship report, save the report with the name provided in the Save As dialog box, and then create the report. So I'm going to then go and create the relationship report by clicking this button here. It says to save it as the default. It doesn't tell you to change it or anything like that. So, all right, we'll leave it as B. So I'm going to click save. This is what it looks like. Not going to touch it. And then click OK. I did have, oh, it's complaining actually, sorry. And you know why it's complaining? Because it's too long, and we do have issues with that. So here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a modification to the actual name, and if it ends up marking you wrong, that's okay, because it does happen. And if it does happen, then we will manually fix that for you, especially on a test. So let me try that. I'll just take out that part and see if it works. And perfect. All right, so there's no guarantee that's going to give me my 4 marks, but like I said, on a test, I will go in and manually fix anything that breaks like that. Okay, so once that's done, it says to then close the report. So we saved it, and then we're going to close it. And then it says close any other objects that are open, such as our relationships window. And at this point, what you would do is you would shut down the Microsoft Access, and you would upload your file so that it could get graded. And again, if you have any issues with any currency problems or any issues with the relationship names, then just let me know, and we can look into it, because the system is not perfect. We're not perfect. It's not a perfect world, as you all know, but we do the best with what we have. All right. Well, anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you guys soon, and wish you very much luck on your first test next week. Take care.